So the technique of solving quadratic equations by factors is very limited because in real-world applications, the quadratic equation is sometimes not factorable. So we need to have another tool to be able to solve quadratic equations, and that's what we're going to learn right now. We're going to learn how to use the quadratic formula to solve quadratic equations. So if we start with the standard quadratic equation form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, remember that a is not 0, we are going to define that the two solutions for that quadratic equation are going to be x1 equals to this and x2 equals to that. Okay, it seems like a really long expression, but once you start doing problems using these formulas, you understand it's not really that big of a deal. The way you consolidate these two formulas is by writing x is equals to negative b. Since here is plus and here is minus, we're going to write plus or minus b squared minus 4ac, the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So why don't we do an example to see how we use this? Remember that this is the formula. So what we need to do is, in this particular example, where I have this equation, 3x squared plus 4x minus 5 equals 0, I need to recognize my a, my b, and my c. In this particular example, a is 3, b is 4, and c is negative 5. Don't forget the negative. That's going to be very important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute these values into this formula right here. Okay? So what do I have now? So x is going to be equals to negative b, which is 4, plus or minus square root of b squared, that's 16, minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is negative 5, divided by 2 times a. Remember that a is 3, so it's 6. Okay, so x will be equals to negative 4 plus or minus. So we're going to have here this negative in this negative. We're going to make a positive, so I'm going to have 16 plus. If you multiply 4 times 3 times 5, you get 60, right? And that's divided by 6. If we keep on going over here, let's just write the answer. Let's go right here. We have x is going to be equals to negative 4 plus or minus. So 16 plus 60 is 76 divided by 6. So I'm going to have two answers. My first answer, and I'm going to write x sub 1, is negative 4, and that's going to be plus the square root of 76 divided by 6. My second answer, instead of a plus, I'm going to use minus, okay? So it's going to be, let me write it in red so we can distinguish, negative 4 minus the square root of 76 divided by 6. 76 is not a perfect number, right? We don't know of a whole number that set to the second power gives me 76. So I'm going to have to use my calculator. So if you go and you use your calculator, you will get that the square root of 76 is about 8.7178, okay? And again, it's going to be plus or minus, right? In the second case, it's going to be minus 8.7178, right? Divided by 6. Okay? So I'm going to get these two answers. One answer is going to be negative, and the other answer is going to be positive. So obviously, this answer right here is going to be positive. So that's positive 7.863. And this number right here is going to be negative. So it's going to be negative 2 point. Let me just write it clear. 1196. So this is an example on how to do equation solving, on how to solve a quadratic equation by using the quadratic formula. Remember that this is mainly used when you cannot factor the quadratic. If you can factor the quadratic, there is no real need of using the quadratic formula.